Hello friends, I am Dr. Mahesh Kalra, Director, Center for Numismatic Information and Studies, Mumbai. Today we are going to learn about the ancient and early medieval coinages of Karnataka under the subject head of Indian numismatics. And for this we'll be first looking at the entire concept of Karnataka as a cultural entity. Karnataka has been mentioned in various ancient sources as Karnata Desha. It has been also mentioned in the epics and other religious texts of the historic period. According to the Bhagavad Puran, Lord Rishabdev, who was also related to some of the entities in the Bhagavad text, ended his avatar at the Kutakachala hill in Karnataka province. Kutakachala is a hill in present-day Karnataka near Kolur in the Western Ghats. Hence, from its earliest period, Karnataka was associated with Jainism, including Chandragupta Maurya's renunciation of life by Salekhana, according to Jain sources, in the region of Shravan Belgola. The Mauryan connection with Karnataka only became stronger under Chandragupta Maurya's grandson, Ashoka. This is evident through his various edicts found in Karnataka, including the famous Maski one, naming him as Ashoka Raya. So here we look at the coinage of Karnataka. Its first beginning was in the Mauryan period. There were many pre-Mauryan coinages issued in various parts of India, including north parts of the Deccan. Karnataka, we don't find any pre-Mauryan coinage. Hence, the Mauryan era would have been the main first connection of the Karnataka people with coinages. And in this period, as we all know, there is a circulation of the Mauryan punchmark coins known as the Karshapanas. So we find a number of hoards of Karshapanas all over Karnataka. Various places have been mapped like Gulbarg, Raichur, Maski, Sannati, Halabaglu, Chikka, Sindagi, and also there have been punch marks reported from Vadgaon, Madhavpur, Dharwar, Banwasi, and Chandravali. As we know, these are very important areas of ancient period in Karnataka, and even in later period, places like Banwasi became very important. Some of these coins have certain features, like coins reported from Vadgaon, Madhavpur, were actually copper punch mark coins which had a silver coating on them. This points to a possible counterfeiting possibilities done in the local mints. Also, coins from Chikka, Sindagi have again signs of local manufacture with reduced silver content. So this again points to some local attempts to forge the coins, maybe in the post-Mauryan or the early post-Mauryan period, since Mauryan punchmark coins were stopped in the middle of the 2nd century BCE. So punchmark coins form the first coinage of pre-Satwan period, which also point to its inclusion into the Mauryan Empire proper through a system of feudatory chiefs who were aligned with the empire. In the post-Mauryan period, we find a number of regional chiefs with titles like Mahatalwars, Mahasenapati, Maharathis, and Mahagramikas, who were free to rule independently in the Deccan region. Amongst the local dynasties of Karnataka, we find one family known as the Sadakana Maharathis, whose coins have been reported from Karnataka. Various regions like Chitradurga, Karwar, Aihole, Banavasi, and Chandravali have reported hoards of these coins. The first ruler calls himself as Sadakana Kalalaya Maharathi, and some believe that he was the same Maharathi who was mentioned in the Naneghat inscription of the early Satvans. However, the Maharathis are believed to have been independent in the post-Mauryan period, and this points to a period of 150 BC. Wheeler reported finding Maharathi coins in the Chandrahali in a stratigraphic context, specifically showing these coins in the bottommost layer of Deccan coinages in the region. Sadakana Maharathi coins have an obverse image of a humped bull standing facing left and with a circular Brahmi legend. The first ruler is called Sadakana Kalalay Maharati Sir, and this is followed by few other rulers, one of them being Chatu Kanaha, another being Sadakanaha Kanasa Maharati Putrasa, which indicates again that his father also was a Maharati. So this is the coinage that we find as one of the earliest attempt of the local rulers of Karnataka, issued basically in the immediate post-Mauryan period. After this period, we find another dynasty coming into play, and that is the Anandas of Banwasi. The Anandas of Banwasi basically ruled probably immediately after the Sadakana Maharatis. This is evident by a hoard found in 1888 by Mervyn Smith had coins of both the Maharatis as well as the Anandas, which points to the latter, that is the Anandas following the former in the region. The Ananda rulers are also known as the Chutu rulers, since we find one of the first rulers being named as Chutukula Ananda and the second ruler being named as Mula Ananda. The coins of these both rulers were first found in 1903 by General Peirce, and they were correctly read by E.J. Rapson, the curator of British Museum. The coins have a 9-arched hill on the obverse with a legend naming the ruler. The third ruler in the dynasty is known as Shivalananda, and Shivalananda's coins were just discovered in the late 20th century by a local Karnataka numismatist, and also there have been certain uninscribed coins in the series which have been said to maybe possibly predate the inscribed coinage of the dynasty, because these coins have the same imagery and look and fabric as the proper Ananda's coinage. Now we look at the post-Satavahana coinages of Karnataka. As we all know, the Satavahans formed a very important connect in the region of Deccan, entire Deccan, and this included Karnataka. After the Satavahans, there was the first dynasty which were known as the Kadambas of Banwasi. And the Kadambas of Banwasi, there has been much debate, their period being the 4th to 6th century of the Common Era. About 50 inscriptions of this dynasty have been discovered, but not many coins have been found which could be linked to this dynasty. However, recently a hoard of coins was discovered in about 2006, and these coins have been ascribed with a little bit of caution to these early Kadamba rulers, because they were also found with the coins of the Anandas of Banwasi. So the coins which have been definitively attributed to the Kadambas have a legend Sri Dosha Rashi, and these are believed to have been the titles of the Kadamba king Krishna Varma II, who ruled between 516 and 540 of the Common Era. The hoard also contained certain unifaced non-inscribed coins, which have basically images of flowers, chakras, and conches, and these are believed to be one of the earliest coins of the Kadambas of Banwasi. However, there have been counterclaims about these coins having been issued by the Pallavas. There's another set of coins which are found with the legend Sri Manarashi. However, not much has been known about the identity of the king who took this title, Sri Manarasi. These are the coins that we are showing in the slide. As you can see, the name of the ruler Krishna Varma as Sri Dosha Rashi is written in a circular way. So the circle is divided into 5 edges, and there's a Kannada legend, Sri Dosha Rashi, along with a reverse legend, Shashanka. And these are the uninscribed coins of the Kadambas of Banwasi found in the same hoard. Post this period, continuing with the dynasty of Kadambas, there was a dynasty which ruled the southern part of Karnataka, and this was the Western Ganga dynasty of Talkad. They ruled the region called as Gangavadi, which was very rich in gold deposits. Hence, we find one of the earliest coinages in gold being issued by this dynasty. Gangas initially had the capital at Kolar, before they moved to Talakad near Mysore. The Western Gangas issued gold pagodas, sometimes called as Gajapati Hoons, but majorly referred to as Ane Pons, with the image of Mada Gajendra Lanchana, which is the image of a lusty elephant, which was the dynastic crest of this dynasty, on the epigraphs as well as copper plates. So here we see one of the coins which has an obverse image of the elephant and the reverse floral design. And we also see a copper plate which has the elephant as the dynastic crest of the Western Gangas. Another very interesting link of the Western Gangas is a reference in the Kashmir Chronicle known as the Rajatarangini. There is a mention that there was a ruler called King Harshadeva who wanted the coins of Karnataka to be copied since they had a very beautiful image of an elephant on the obverse, and this today is believed to be the coins of Western Gangas, who have a very prominent image of an elephant on the obverse. And today, with very good research, scholars have come to the conclusion that was indeed a coin which was copied from the Karnataka dynasty. So we see that coin in the slide here from the British Museum collection. Also, some of the Western Ganga rulers, came up with coins with inscriptions. One such coin was issued by King Arya Ganga with the title Shri Madhya Raya Nayaka. So this coin again is much similar to the other series, but it has an inscription on the reverse instead of the floral design which is seen on the usual coins of Western Gangas. The Western Ganga rulers continued to rule for a very long period. They continued as feudatories of the later dynasties, that is the Chalukyas of Badami and Rashtrakutas. Similarly, there was another dynasty known as the Alupa dynasty, which ruled a tract of southern Kanara and northern Konkan, that is Tulunadu, as feudatories of various dynasties right from the period of 550 till about the 14th century. So there is again a standard group of gold coins which have been attributed very recently to them. There are also smaller phanums which are available, and these coins are believed to have been issued over a large period with a variety of images of the standard type. And the standard type is basically a set of two stylized fishes below an umbrella and along with a lotus below, which are basically Vaishnavite symbols like conch shells and the kumbha flanking them. And the reverse has a Nagari or Kannada legend, Shri Pandya Dhanamjaya. Again, this dynasty claimed to be basically in essence descendants of the Pandyas, and not only the actual Pandyas, but this was also the mythological connection to possibly Arjuna, which was claimed by this dynasty, and hence this legend made its way on the coins of this dynasty. The next major power which rose in the middle of the 6th century were the Chalukyas of Badami or Vatapi, as it was initially called, and this dynasty rose to its full potential under Pulakeshi II. As we all know, he ruled from 610 to about 642 CE. He is also the king who is noted to have defeated King Harsha of Thaneshwar in about 337 of the Common Era. He also defeated Pallava king Mahendra Varman. So with all these things, many conjunctions have happened that the coins of this dynasty, which were not actually found, so right from the period of 19th century when Eliot did the first major study on South Indian coins, coins with images of the Varaha, the divine incarnation of Lord Vishnu, have been attributed to the kings of Chalukyas of Badami. Here we see in the slide three of the images that have been given by Eliot, and recently some of these coins have again been attributed to Chalukyas of Badami. Very important coins which has come up has been reported from two places. One important place is Gharapuri, which is Elephanta Island near Mumbai, which is having a title Shri Satya Shraya. Now, this is again believed to have been a title of Emperor Pulakeshi II, and many of his inscriptions, it is claimed that he actually defeated the Mauryas of Konkan. Aihole inscription claims this, that Pulakeshi defeated the Mauryas of Konkan. So finding of this coin on Gharapuri Island again kind of confirms the claim of Aihole inscription. And this is the coin which has been again illustrated by Professor A.V. Narasimha Murthy in his coin book on coins of Karnataka. But we don't actually know the actual coins, where and how they have been deposited after finding them. But we find a major contribution of the Chalukyas of Badami to the entire concept of South Indian coinage, and this went much beyond their period, right up till the period of Vijayanagar and beyond, because the period of Chalukyas of Badami, we find references to various weight terms like Kalanju, which was a seed to weigh gold in this period. And also there was terms like Gadiana, which was the term for the standard gold coin of the period weighing about 3.6 grams. Also another term, pagoda, has been used at this period, and pon, along with the lower units called panas or fanams as they were called later, and further lower units like haga, tara and visas have been mentioned in various epigraphs of the Chalukyas of Badami. The next imperial power was the Rashtrakutas of Manyakheta. Again, they were a Karnataka-based dynasty, and there has been much speculation about the coinage of this dynasty because they again ruled over Karnataka and much of Deccan for about 2 centuries. They also participated in the major struggle of power in the 8th and 9th century, what is called as the Kannauj Triangle between the Rashtrakutas, the Gurjar Pratiharas, and the Palas. So some of these references have come from the epigraphs of the Rashtrakutas themselves. Coin terms like Dhamma, which is possibly a silver coin, Suvarna, Gadyanaka, Kalanju, and Kasu have been mentioned in the epigraphs. Recently, there have been some tentative attributions of some copper and silver and gold coins to the Rashtrakuta rulers, some being actually mentioned by name like Dhruva, Karka, and some being inferred based on the titles some of these coins have, like Nani Vedamga is a title which possibly was taken by one of the Rashtrakutas. One claim is Govinda IV, and then there is a silver coin which comes with the title Gunatunga, which is again a title which was taken by many of the Rashtrakutas in the epigraphs. The Chalukyas of Kalyani were the next major power who again rose from the decline of Rashtrakutas and ruled Karnataka region from 973 to about 1195 of the Common Era. The capital of this power was Kalyani, present day Basav Kalyan, and they ruled a large period, rose under the Emperor Vikramaditya VI. The Chalukyas again have been attributed certain coins. One of the coins which is basically attributed is a coin of the ruler Jayasimha, who takes the title Jagdakemala on his coins, and we find a coin with 9 punches made by the punchmark technique where there are 5 lions along with Kannada Sri Jaya on the coin itself. We also see in the period of Chalukyas of Kalyani various rulers like Jayasimha taking the title Jagdakemala. Then there is Someshwara, who calls himself as Trailokya Malla. Someshwara II taking the title Bhuvan Naika Malla, and Someshwar III taking the title Bhuloka Malla. Basically, Malla again is a Sanskrit title meaning strong man or chief. So these were the titles that we actually find on coins. Again, in the case of Chalukyas of Kalyani, many coins with actual images of the boar, which was the dynastic crest or is assumed to be the dynastic crest by Eliot and others, were again ascribed to the Chalukyas of Kalyani. Some of these also have emblems like the sun and moon, wishing the rulers a long reign, and reverse Kannada legends. Some of these have also recently been sold in the market with the claims that they were coins of Chalukyas of Kalyani. I've already mentioned about punchmark coins of King Jayasimha. Similarly, we find another set of coins of Jayasimha where instead of the lion, you find a spear type of punchmark and with the legend, shorter legend, Jagade. Similarly, I've already hinted to the coins of Someshwara where there is a title, Tailokya Malla, and the coin of Someshwara, the second, which have five-seated bulls and the legend Bhuvana. The Chalukyas of Kalyani were briefly deposed and the power went into the hands of the Kalachuris under Bijalla, and they ruled between 1156 and 1183. Basically, again, we find a set of gold coins which have been made with the punch mark technique with a central punch of Garuda, which with certain letters in Kannada script of that period. Again, these have been attributed to the Kalachuris. Another set of gold coins which come with an obverse anthropoid image of Garuda and a reverse Kannada legend Basava Nava in three lines which are attributed to the Kalachuris. Again, this attribution is because under the Kalachuris, the sect of Basava Shaivism rose in Karnataka in that period, and that is why this coinage has been attributed to the Kalachuris. The next power which rose in the fall of the Kalachuris was the Hoysalas. The Hoysalas again gradually established themselves. One of the rulers, Vishnuvardhan Hoysala, captured the region of Nolamba and earning the title Nolamba Vadi Gonda. The Hoysalas also took titles like Malay Parol Ganda, basically meaning the Lord of Malay Hills, simply because they originated from a region called Malenadu, which was an elevated region of the Western Ghats. So these are again seen in their inscriptions. They ruled Karnataka for 4 centuries, and amongst this, there were notable rulers like Vishnuvardhan. Then there was Veeraballa II and Veeraballala III. Also in this period, we see that the Hoysalas emerged as the third greater power of South India, the other two being Kakatiyas of Warangal and the first one being the Yadavas of Devgiri. The Hoysala gold coins again have a higher weight standard of about 4.1 grams, which is more closer to the Chola standard. Interestingly, these coins also have a stylized lion with a prominent mane and a face made up of circular pellets on the obverse. Sometimes there is a two-headed peacock flanked by the sun and moon on the obverse of this coin. And we find 4 types of legends on the reverse of these coins. One of them being Malay Parelu Gonda, then another being Nolamba Vadi Gonda, and third one being Talakadu Gonda. The fourth one is a proper name, Shri Pratapa Narsimha, which is attributed to Narsimha the First. Importantly, these coins again have the titles which are seen in the inscriptions of the dynasty. The Hoysala use of the lion again is connected to the legends of the rise of the dynasty. Again, the legend connected to the rise of this dynasty is to the legendary ruler Sala, to whom the dynasty owed its name. According to the legend, Sala was a ruler who saved his own guru, Sudatta, by striking dead a tiger. And at the point of just striking the tiger, the guru called out Hoy Sala, which means strike Sala. So this is basically a legend which may have gained popularity when King Vishnuvardhan won over the Cholas at Talakadu. The Hoysala emblem many times depicts a fight between Sala and the tiger being the emblem of the Cholas. Again, this is a kind of a mythology which was propagated by the Hoysalas. Another innovation of the Hoysala period was fanams, which are now termed as Veeraraya fanams. These again have on the obverse a very stylized lion, almost resembling a crocodile with long feet. But now we know that this is basically a stylized lion. And this Veeraraya fanam was copied later by many dynasties of South India with minor modifications of the reverse design. Also, we find certain small silver coins of this dynasty. We find references to tiny coins called as taras. Again, some of these have stylized lions on the obverse with a curved line above, and the reverse have Kannada letters and sometimes also numerals and animal emblems, along with certain letters in Kannada or Grantha or Nagari in different combinations. This coinage was again adopted by the early Vijayanagar rulers as their silver coins at the beginning of the dynasty. Thus, the Hoysala set the precedent for the coinage of the next empire, that is the Sangam rulers of Vijayanagar, who issued these coinage after they freed Karnataka from the Islamic influence under Harihara the first. Now we look at the later Kadambas, who again took the origin of the dynasty back to 4th century, and then there were families which came up in three places: Goa, Hangal, and Belur. The Kadambas of Hangal basically rose under Chatadeva, and he was established as one of the feudatories of Chalukyas of Kalyani, but his successors gained considerable independence from the Chalukyas of Kalyani, and they became sovereign rulers of Goa and Konkan till the 14th century of the Common Era. Chatadeva basically occupied both Banwasi and Hangal and distinguished himself against the Cholas, carving out his kingdom which spread right up till the Konkan on the west coast. He's also, it is believed that one of the rulers, Jayakesi, declared himself practically independent of all, but later Kadambas are believed to have been having a nominal allegiance to the Yadavas and Hoysalas of Doraswamadra. The next cadet branch which came up in the family line of the Kadambas were the Kadambas of Hangal. Again, we see a very important distinct development on their coinage is the image of Lord Hanuman. And Lord Hanuman is believed to have been a representative or a lanchan on the copper plates and various emblems of this dynasty. We also find a very important Kannada legend, Nakara, which basically is to honor Nakareshwar, who was the chief deity of the Nagar of Bankapura in this period. And we also find the reverse floral design on these coins sometimes resembling the Western Ganga coins. Another series of gold coins which were issued by the Kadambas of Hangal was a lion which was looking back with the legend Salaga, which again is a kind of a attempt to write the name of a ruler. Another coin which has recently come into appearance is a coin which has a lion on the obverse and a reverse legend, Malega Kesari, with the three lines. Malega Kesari again means Lion of the Mountain Forest, which was again one of the titles of a Kadamba ruler, Kirtivarma Deva. So we now come to the coinage of Kadambas of Goa. The Kadambas of Goa were basically came to power under Shashtadeva in the turn of the millennium, that is around 1005 of the Common Era. And Jayakesi II expanded the territory, while Jayakesi III basically lost a lot of territory to the Yadavas of Devgiri. The last two rulers of this dynasty basically ruled a much smaller region around Goa till they lost their power to the Khaljis and the Tughlaqs in about 1310 of the Common Era. The coinage of this dynasty again has a very interesting emblem of the lion, but in this case the lion has a very android or a human looking face with very prominent eyes and nose. One of the additions effort that the Kadambas of Goa did was to date the coinage in a cyclical year which had a name, and the name was thus representative of a period of that dynasty. The Kadambas of Goa were also worshippers of a god called as Saptakoteshwara, and his name is evoked on most of the rulers' coinage, be it Jayakeshi I or Jayakeshi II or Shivachitta Paramadi. All of them actually evoke the title Saptakotesha Labdhavara. So the coin in this first slide that we see has the coin of Jayakeshi, which has this lion on the obverse along with the name of the cyclical year, And on the reverse, we see a long Nagari legend in about 5 lines. Sri Shapta Kotesha Labdavara Veera Jayakesi Deva Malavara Mari. So again, this has got a number of titles, like Malava Mari is basically indicating that these rulers defeated the Malavas. And we also find a lot of other such titles taken, like Hem Adi Deva. In one particular coin of Shiva Chitta, we find both Nagari as well as Kannada names of the ruler inscribed on the coins. To summarize this topic, we have looked upon the ancient coinage of Karnataka, which began under the Mauryans and had a pre-Satavahana paradigm also, a local coinage under two dynasties of Sadakana Maharathis and the Anandas of Banwasi. Post the Satavahana period, we also find the local dynasty of the Kadambas of Banwasi, who were followed by the Chalukyas of Badami. But both these dynasties have left very little numismatic footprints. Other feudatory powers like the Western Gangas and Alupas began their own coinage in gold, spurred by the availability of gold in the regions of Kolar and other districts. The imperial dynasties like Rashtrakutas and Chalukyas of Kalyani and Hoysala slowly moved to issue their own coins. But the first two dynasties, again, especially the Rashtrakutas, have left very little coins. Chalukyas of Kalyani, again, as we saw, most of the coins are basically attributed to them on the basis of the boar emblem. Finally, we come to the period of Hoysalas, which was the last imperial dynasty to helm Karnataka, and their coinage has been dealt in great detail. And we've also looked at the later Kadamba dynasties of Goa and Hangal, whose coinages again have their own peculiar features with heavier standards in gold. Thank you for watching this video on the coinage of ancient Karnataka. For more information, do view our e-text and visit ePG Pathshala for more information.